right? So Qwen Image 3.0 and Google Flow are both making noise right now, and I ran them through 4 real tests to see which one actually holds up. Google Flow already hit 275 million videos in its first 5 months, and honestly, that's the stat that got my attention. Both tools dropped recently, and people are genuinely confused about which one to use. So I'm comparing Qwen Image 3.0 versus Google Flow across 4 dimensions: image understanding, video generation, API access, and pricing. And everything I'm telling you traces back to sourced evidence, no vendor spin, no invented benchmarks. And honestly, the final verdict surprised me a little because one of these tools is basically disqualified from an entire category before the test even starts. Okay, so who is this comparison actually for? If you're a developer, a content creator, or someone building workflows around AI-generated images or video, you need to know which tool fits your output format before you commit time or money, because picking the wrong one is a dead end, and these 2 tools are built for completely different jobs. Test 1, image understanding and visual reasoning. This matters because if you're doing document analysis, multilingual text rendering, or any kind of structured image output, you need to know which tool actually handles that well. And it sounds basic, but it's where a lot of people make the wrong call and end up frustrated. So here's what I found. Qwen Image 3.0 handles 4,500 token prompts and renders text natively in 12 languages, which is pretty interesting for document-heavy work. And Google Flow's image layer exists mostly to support video editing rather than standalone analysis. So bear in mind, neither product has published formal benchmark scores, and there are no independent numbers on screen for either side. This test lands as a tie, and honestly, it's more of a not comparable situation than a close race because Qwen handles documents and Flow handles video context. So they're solving different problems, and the score right now sits at Qwen Image 3.00, Google Flow 0.1 tied, with neither side earning a point because there's no shared benchmark to judge them on. Now, I want to be honest here, Qwen doesn't win by a mile on image tasks, just because Flow doesn't publish scores. Because if your workflow is video editing with reference images, Flow's Gemini OmniLayer is doing real multimodal reasoning. So it depends on what you're building, and you should take this one with a grain of salt before you decide Qwen is the image winner across the board. Test 2, video generation and temporal consistency. And honestly, this one is a little one-sided because if you're trying to produce AI video that looks cinematic, holds character consistency across shots, and doesn't need a separate audio pipeline, this dimension is going to matter a lot to you. Okay. So the result here is pretty clear. Qwen Image 3.0 has 0 video generation capability, and that's a capability gap, not a performance gap. While Google Flow runs on VO 3.1, generates up to 1080p, locks character faces and style across shots with Scene Builder, and generates native audio alongside the video. In one step, all community reported, but the direction is not in question. Google Flow takes this test, and it's not close because Qwen Image 3.0 literally doesn't do video, so there's nothing to compare. And that puts the score at Qwen Image 3.00, Google Flow 1 tied, with Flow earning this point because it's the only tool in this matchup that can actually generate video at all. Test 3, API accessibility and integration ease. And if you're a developer trying to plug either of these tools into an actual workflow, this is probably the most practical dimension in the whole comparison, because the real question is how much friction you hit when you try to integrate it programmatically. So here's what the data shows. Qwen Image 3.0 has an official first-party API through Alibaba Cloud Balian, while Google Flow has no official public API at all. So if you want programmatic access to Flow, you're looking at unofficial wrappers from useapi.net or a Chrome extension with 65 users on the web store. And bear in mind, VO 3.1 is accessible via the Gemini API separately, but that's a different product from Flow. Qwen Image 3.0 takes this one, and it's pretty straightforward because direct API access versus unofficial workarounds is not a close call for developers. That brings the score to Qwen Image 3.01, Google Flow 1 tied, with Qwen earning this point because it gives you a clean integration path without Chrome extensions or third-party wrappers. Test 4, pricing and usage limits. And this matters because before you commit to any tool, you want to know what it actually costs at scale and whether there's a free tier you can test with before pulling out a credit card. So pricing transparency is a real thing and it's worth paying attention to. Okay, so Google Flow has verified pricing tiers, free at 50 credits per day, then $9.99 a month, $19.99 a month, and up to $100 to $200 a month at the top tier, though that top number conflicts across sources. So take the range loosely, and Qwen Image 3.0 has no verified public pricing in the evidence at all, which makes a direct cost comparison basically impossible right now. This test lands as a tie, and honestly, the pricing data just isn't there to make a real comparison. So the final score sits at Qwen Image 3.01, Google Flow 2 tied, with neither side taking this point because you can't compare what you can't see. Now, I want to flag something honest here. Google Flow's pricing looks transparent on the surface, but the AI Ultra tier conflicts between the vendor source at $100 a month and the third-party blog at $200 a month. and flow credits don't roll over, so you lose them every billing cycle. And if Qwen Image 3.0 ever publishes pricing, this dimension could look very different. Where does Qwen Image 3.0 clearly win? Document-heavy and multilingual work, because it handles 4,500 token prompts and renders text natively in 12 languages, which is genuinely useful for structured infographic or document generation. And it has a real first-party API through Alibaba Cloud Balian, so developers can integrate it directly without unofficial workarounds or regional access headaches. And where does Google Flow clearly win? Video, full stop, because Veo 3.1 generates up to 1080p with cinematic physics and native audio. In one step, Scene Builder locks character faces, objects, and style across shots, which solves the drift problem that made earlier AI video tools so frustrating. And you can actually try it free at 50 credits per day before spending anything. All right, so here's the decision rule. If you're doing document analysis, multilingual image generation, or you need a clean API integration for image workflows, go with Qwen Image 3.0. And if you're making AI video and you need cinematic output, character consistency, and native audio, Google Flow on Veo 3.1 is the only tool in this comparison that can actually do the job.